parents, family, and friends are suffering right now as they lay to rest the victims of the Parkland area school shooting. 17 people lost their lives, and multiple others were injured when a mass shooting took place on February 14, 2018. The shooter, Nicholas Cruz, unleashed shots into students and staff as the cowardly Broward officers sat outside too afraid to do their job and save lives of innocent victims. Families mourn the loss of loved ones, social media blasts the Broward cowards, and two teenagers are traveling around as if they're on a high horse talking about gun control and gun laws. Most people take this time to remember the lives of the people they lost, but then there's always someone who takes advantage of the situation and uses it to further their own agenda, and that's just shameful. The two teens parading around with their social warrior agenda are Emma Gonzalez and David Hogg. They're racking up thousands of Twitter followers, soaking up their 15 minutes of fame, and acting as if anyone is genuinely taking them seriously. The same generation which required stores to lock up Tide Pods so the kids would stop eating them has magically become experts of the Constitution and Second Amendment. The same generation slurping on detergent all of a sudden wants Americans to take them seriously. These are the same group of teenagers who've used the tragedy to skip class and call it a protest or a march against guns, but really, it's just cutting class and the kids face suspension and a possible date in the truancy court. They can tweet and march all they want, but it's just nonsense and not accomplishing anything but giving them attention and a few days off from school. They don't realize that their actions are being viewed by many and not being taken seriously by any. Real progress does not involve skipping class to protest when they can protest on their own after school or on the weekends. Real growth does not include thousands of kids walking around a neighborhood, through a mall, or cutting class with big smiles on their face as they play around. Meanwhile, families of the victims are attending funerals as the other kids joke around like it's one big party. If that doesn't make it sad, then take into consideration the disrespectful teenager who went from being just another teen to some kid who thinks it's okay to lash out at President Trump as if Trump is to blame for the school shooting. Trump had nothing to do with the school shooting, just like millions of other Americans. For some reason, the one teen, David Hogg, wants to bash Trump for being a draft dodger. Perhaps Hogg doesn't realize that trashing the guy in charge of the country is not the way to open civil discourse, nor is it the way to progress issues that need action. David Hogg would have been wiser to address Trump respectfully, like the old saying goes, give respect to get it back. Perhaps that's not in Hogg's plan. Maybe he wants to act like a far-left intolerant liberal whose primary is name-calling and labeling people. It would behoove Hogg to change his ways and address his elders with more respect so that he can have a chance of being taken seriously by those who rule the country. If the Trump administration wanted to hear from a court jester, they would have gotten John McCain on the phone. It seems like David Hogg is enjoying his Twitter account very much as he goes after a few prominent faces in the media. Some people can't tell if that's him tweeting or someone is running his account. I find it very strange that Hogg would know who Alex Jones is. I know what Alex would say, why wouldn't he know who I am? It's just not someone that a typical teenager would be reading or paying attention to. David Hogg had President Trump and called him a draft dodger. He also had Alex Jones from InfoWars, but there was no mention of the flamboyant frogs. Hogg mentioned the mentally ill not being able to get weapons, which is something all intelligent people agreed to years ago, about the time he was born. Another on Alex Jones. Not sure why Hogg is ing him this often. Maybe Alex Jones is David Hogg. I think I clearly see what he is clearly talking about now. I suppose Alex Jones taunted David Hogg, and Hogg clearly replied with his clearly clear response, David's sister making a bizarre comment about the American flag. How about no people booked their spring break trip a year ago? They shouldn't cancel just because you're angry. As you can see, there is a lot of teenage rage happening on Twitter. If we can be honest for a moment, that's just how Twitter is. Twitter is one of the most useless social media apps you could ever download. As soon as you get it, you're invited to every teenage high school level argument in the world. Twitter is one big argument, and it's best to avoid altogether. As for the teens turning into social media warriors, it would be nice if they remembered how old they were and went back to enjoying their teenage years. It would be a shame if these kids spent their early years acting like mid-20s gender studies majors who have no job. At least these kids can have a chance after high school, if they ever go back. Remember your youth, kids. This is not how you should spend your days as a teen. Go outside, ride a bike, join a club, but by all means, get yourselves off Twitter and do something fun for once. Be kids again. From the web powered by Zergnet, the truth about the Obama sisters' awkward Olympics wardrobe malfunctions. You can't unsee woman who drove Florida shooter to school speaks out why people stopped watching The Big Bang Theory. Meet Malia, Obama's Harvard boyfriend, Rory Farquharson, the real reason you don't hear about LeAnn Rimes anymore.